Proverbs 4:23 states, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Now, I know many of you have heard the term guarding your heart, and many of you take that proverb very seriously, all right? You use it, or you know someone who uses it as a validation to having walls up, as a validation to quote unquote protect themselves. Because the reality is that the world is scary. Relationships are scary. People can't be trusted. People are getting hurt, disappointed, and left in a lot of discouragement and negative energy that then lingers on. And so in this fear of trying to avoid that fate, many people latch on to the belief, well, I have to guard my heart. But I'm here to tell you, so many are getting it wrong. So many don't understand what that truly means. And they don't realize that the guarding your heart that goes with putting walls up is actually causing you more harm. There's a saying I always use: the same walls you have up to protect you are the same walls blocking your blessings. You cannot allow love to flow in and out with your heart guarded. Now think about what the scripture said. It said, for everything flows out of it. Where is the flow if the wall is there? So you've got to understand that you trying to live this life, trying to protect yourself, or like I'll describe, some women out there have snipers on the roof, walls up, landmines surrounding, all right, the place. You got all kinds of booby traps set because you are not trying to let anyone get too close. Anyone be able to penetrate your heart in a way that you feel like you are too vulnerable. But it is that fear of vulnerability that is robbing you of a higher quality of life and the chance to experience a greater relationship. So I want to lay out a few things for you to consider when you're thinking about guarding your heart. Number one, hurt is inevitable. Here's the unfortunate reality. Well, you know what? I say unfortunate, but it's actually not, and I'll explain why. But what I was going to say is the unfortunate reality of we will all be hurt at some point in our life. We will all face disappointment. That is inevitable. I don't think you could ever find a person that lives long enough who does not experience hurt, disappointment, you name it. All right? The key in life is not to avoid it, is to understand how we handle it and how we process it and how we learn from it. Now, the reason why I wanted to remove the word unfortunately from the fact that we will all experience hurt is because what we fail to realize is sometimes, many times, hurt is a necessary process to build us, to make us stronger, to help us gain better perspective. We will not be able to evolve to certain levels without seeing the other side of things. If all we experienced was good, we would not develop the character necessary to accomplish more in our life. Okay? So understand that it is not only inevitable, but it is in essence necessary. So getting back to the fact that we have to learn how to handle it and process it. You know, one of the big mistakes that we make is that when we are hurt, we take it personally. We internalize the hurt that others bring upon us. Now, I'm sure you've also heard the phrase, hurt people will hurt people. And it's a very real thing. Now, sometimes people rebuttal that with, well, I've been hurt and I'm not hurting anyone. That's not true. I'm sure if we examined your life close enough, we can see instances where maybe you don't pour into your children as much as you should because you have walls up. You are holding back from someone, or you have held back from someone you could have experienced a more amazing relationship with because you're afraid to get hurt. you're not allowing yourself to tap into your full potential or walk into your purpose because of your fears of vulnerability and hurt. Trust and believe you are hurting someone. It may not be a constant thing. It may not be a blatant, malicious thing, but it is happening in one way, shape, or form. Now, notice I said it may not be blatant. Well, here's the reality. Most cases of people hurting others, it is a symptom of the issues within them, not about the person. So a lot of times it's not that they're doing something to hurt you, to blatantly put on this negative energy towards you. It's again, it's something going on within them. So here's an example. You ever seen someone who they're quick to criticize everybody? They're quick to point out every wrong thing with everybody that's around them. And it's not that they're trying to hurt others. A lot of them, their mentality is, I've got to put the spotlight on you so you don't put it on me. All right? I got to hit you before you hit me. It's a defense mechanism. Now, of course, it's unhealthy. It isn't right. But it shows you an example of how they will take their hurt out on you, but it's not really about you. So when we learn to not internalize everyone's actions, everyone's poor decisions, everyone's sometimes mistakes, all right, then we learn how to free ourselves from dwelling in that pain, dwelling in that negative energy, and not feeling the need to have to, quote unquote, guard our heart in an unhealthy way. Now, of course, there's so much more I can speak on this specific point, but I just want you to understand that, listen, you can't outrun hurt. It is best for you to turn around, face it, and conquer it. And when you learn how to conquer it, and when you also understand that even in the moments that you've been hurt, you got back up and you're still alive. You got back up and you still made things happen. You're gonna be okay. In the moment that we're being hurt, we may feel like the walls are falling in on us. Life is over. What are we gonna do? But when you look back at all the times you've been hurt, were you not able to some level bounce back? You were. And trust, you can have an even better bounce back once you understand how to better handle and process these moments. So don't run from it, face it, handle it, conquer it, move forward with an open heart. And I'll get more into that open heart a little bit later. Now, the second thing I need you to consider or remember in regards to guarding your heart is that what we perceive as bad may be good for us. So I kind of alluded to that already in the previous point, but let me give you an example, a story that happened to me. I remember, this is many, many years ago, I was looking for a job. I came across this job. At the time, I had a degree in IT, right? So this was a job dealing with computers and tech and everything. So I was very excited. I really wanted this job. Went, applied, got the interview, didn't hear from them. I ended up getting offered another job at this other spot. Didn't really want it, but I needed the job. The other job never hit me up, so I took it. Took this new job. Let's just say it was working for a paper company. Not Dunder Mifflin, but no. So I'm working for this paper company and everything seems to be going great. I'm excelling at this job. I'm performing at a high level to where I think I got promoted after like 3 weeks. All right. I'm killing it. And I'm thinking I'm good. Out of nowhere, I come to work one day and them jokers let me go. To this day, I have no idea what I did wrong. I have no clue what triggered this. This wasn't a massive layoff. No one else got fired. I was the only one. And again, I just got promoted. So at the time, I felt a little distraught. All right. I was hurt. I was confused. 2 days later, I get a call. Who's the call from? That tech job I wanted from the beginning. They end up hiring me. Not only did I end up at the job I really wanted and that was better for me, that job included life-changing moments, all right? One of those moments, believe it or not, I ended up winning a car at this job, okay? I literally, long story short, it was a raffle, got my name called. You have to put your key in the car. Whoever starts the car, it's theirs. Boom, I won a brand new convertible car. It was crazy. And I was only there for like 4 months, all right? All that to say, what I thought was this horrible moment of being fired opened the door to a huge blessing. And had I not been fired, I would not have left that job to take the tech job. I'm a very loyal person, so I would have been like, nah, I already work here. They're doing right by me. I'm not just gonna leave them like that. So it's like God freed me so that I can receive what was better for me. There's a lot of situations in your life that will be like that. There's a lot of situations where it looks bad on the surface because of what we perceive as bad. But there's something greater working in the background. And so when we try to avoid hurt, when we try to avoid quote unquote negative outcomes, sometimes we are interfering with the process God is trying to take us through. Now, of course, it doesn't mean blindly walk into a line of fire. It doesn't mean, set yourself up for failure. It just means that trust doing the things that God wants you to do. Trust the natural flow of life. Know that if you are putting your faith in God, things are going to work out. It just doesn't always play out the way that you think it should or that you thought you wanted it to at that time, because it needs more time for it to come into full fruition, for it to come full circle. All right. So once we start to learn that even the quote unquote bad moments, like there's a quote I use, when you're walking with God, even your bad days are good days. Or no, I'm sorry. When you're walking with God, even your bad days are blessed days. That's the actual quote I use. So when you start to remember that, you get to a place where now you're able to shrug off those moments and nothing gets you so far down because you know there's something better waiting for you. And again, because I have to keep reiterating this point, then you'll feel less of the need to have to quote unquote guard your heart in life because you know that God got you and you're gonna be okay. All right, so let's keep this going. Another thing for you to remember in regards to guarding your heart is that we need to learn to be more forgiving and give grace. All right, so let's start with forgiving. I always say everything is forgivable, but certain things are unacceptable. What that means is this: forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is your freedom. Forgiveness is essentially saying, I am not going to hold on to this hurt any longer. I'm not going to hold on to this negative energy any longer. I am freeing myself from it and I'm moving forward. That's basically what it boils down to. All right. And so though you may forgive someone, and you should, because you don't need to be holding on to that pain, holding on to that negativity. It's like there's another saying that says, when you don't forgive, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die from it. You're only hurting yourself. So forgiveness is necessary. However, that does not mean you have to accept their behavior. Meaning, let's put this in the context of a relationship. You could forgive someone who hurt you in a relationship and still recognize they are not for you. They are not best for you to be with in a relationship. Therefore, you don't need to take them back. You don't need to necessarily become friends. You don't need to do any of that. You can still move forward and forgive. And when we speak on it from a more spiritual perspective, God made it clear. If we want to be forgiven, we have to forgive others. How can we expect forgiveness for our mistakes, our shortcomings, our moments of falling short, if we won't express that or we won't give that forgiveness to others? So we have to do it. We have to embrace it. It is what's best. But notice I said, and let me say this before I make this other point. In regards to guarding your heart, it says everything flows from it. When you don't forgive, you are trapping that negative energy in your heart. And now your actions, your thoughts that flow from it will be tainted with this negative energy. And now you will find it harder to be more of a positive person, to think more positively, to see the good in things, to be able to walk more in faith, so on and so forth. That's the type of thing you should actually be guarding your heart from. Not from the chances of you being hurt, not from the fear of vulnerability. But as I mentioned, I said grace as well. We need to give more grace. What I've seen in this world is that we forget real quick that we make mistakes too. and to be more specific, like it always baffles me when I see people get up in arms about someone telling a lie. And don't get me wrong, lying is wrong. There's no way to validate it. People need to learn to be more honest. But can we not act like we haven't all told a lie before? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some of you who have been 100% honest your entire life. But in the vast majority of cases, a lie has come out. Now, again, that isn't to say, oh, well, because we've told a lie, excuse other people who are liars, accept them for being so deceitful. No. What I am saying is that we don't have to look so negatively upon people, judge them so harshly, think they're just horrible person when they've done things that we have done ourselves. Give some grace and be willing to go beyond the surface, because in using the example of a lie, think about why you lied in a moment. You didn't lie because you were trying to hurt someone. You didn't lie because you wanted to betray them. You lied out of the defense mechanism because you were either afraid of an outcome, worried about how they would receive it, so on and so forth. So when we understand the reasons why typically a person lies, then there's a chance for us to possibly rectify the situation. Listen, some situations are you're dealing with someone who you simply should not be dealing with, all right? And there's a bigger picture that will show you what that is, or, if that person it fits in your life or not. But in the cases of this is not a bad person, but they've made a bad decision, if we're willing to not be so stuck on what happened on the surface and go beneath it, we can find resolution and create more harmony. And with that, we experience more peace for ourselves. Because now we're not holding on to, again, the hurt, the disappointment of the lie. We've now resolved it. We're good. We move forward. So give more grace, embrace more forgiveness, less focus on the guarding of your heart. Hey, so before we continue with this video, I just want to introduce you to a great company called Factor Meals. I'm really enjoy using Factor because they support wholesome eating made simple. Meal plans that offer a variety of meal options, add-ons, choose your favorite meals. You can craft your order based on your taste preference and meal history. With Factor, there's no meal prep and no mess. Factor cuts out all the stressful meal planning and extensive prepping, so meals come together in minutes, taking the guesswork out of what to make for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Factor meals arrive pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes, even faster than ordering a takeout. For someone like me, it's made life a lot easier because I'm always on the go. I'm on tour. I got a lot going on. So with Factor, I'm able to keep up with my nutrition needs so I can hit that gym, get my gains, still feel great, and have the energy to talk to you guys, whether that be in person or in these videos. So take advantage of this opportunity and go to go.factor75.com/Stephan Speaks 60 and use code Stephan Speaks 60 to get 60% off your first Factor box. All right. Again, that's go.factor75.com/Stephan Speaks 60 and using promo code Stephan Speaks 60 to get 60% off. You're going to love this. All right, so the next thing on this list, and I kind of spoke on it, but we're going to highlight it some more, is what you really should be guarding your heart from is all negativity. So again, in the Proverbs, it said, for everything flows from it. So essentially what it's saying is, do not let your heart become contaminated by negative things, fear, anger, animosity, resentment, jealousy, foolish pride, all right? So on and so forth. Those are the things that we need to guard our heart from. Because once those things penetrate it, now we're operating from a negative place. Now, as it said, everything flows from it. So our thoughts, our actions are being driven by these negative forces, this negative energy. That's where the problem is. That's what we have to be mindful of. We have to do everything that we can to bring our hearts back to a positive and good place. In order to do that, we've got to flush things out of our system. So this is why healing is so important, all right? Because the reality is this: if you've already allowed your heart to be penetrated by negativity, well, it makes it easier for more negativity to come. It kind of reminds me of, like, on social media, if you were to ever look at any of my posts, you won't really see any negative comments, all right? The reason why is because I delete them, or my team deletes them when they see them. And I do that because I realized a very long time ago, if you leave one negative comment, it invites other negative comments. Negativity will draw in more negativity. So in order to stop it, you don't engage in it, all right? You don't try to go back and forth with it. You just release it. You remove it. And what you'll notice is nobody else comes and makes a negative comment. Like, I'm telling you, my comment section is probably one of the cleanest comment sections on social media for that reason. Now, don't let this be a calling to anyone who now want to test me with a negative comment. I will delete you, okay? But the point is, we have to do that in real life. The minute we see someone trying to come at us with negativity, do not engage. Do not go back and forth with it. Remove it. Do not deal with it. All right? Keep your focus on the good, on the positive. Because now, just as negativity can draw in more negativity, well, positivity draws in more positivity. So that's how you start creating a better environment for yourself. That's how you start allowing your mind to operate in a more positive place. And let me say this, because it's kind of hitting my spirit right now. Guarding your heart from these negative things isn't just a matter of how you feel about situations. You also have to be mindful of what you're taking in from others. Meaning, are you watching negative comments or negative content on social media? Are you watching TV that's pushing negative messages? Are you watching or listening to music with a lot of negativity? Those things have the chance to penetrate your heart as well and get into your subconscious. And again, now push you into a negative or a unhealthy direction. So this is where, again, you need to be guarding yourself from. This is where you can apply the walls being up, so to speak. And again, it's not even having a wall, because I don't ever want to justify walls up. It's just understanding what to entertain, what not to, how to eliminate certain things from around you, so on and so forth, as well as prayer and meditation. All right. So I didn't go too deep into it, but let me just remind you, the healing process is a big part of this, because you can view the healing process as like an emotional detox, an opportunity to flush everything out. And the point that I was making is that if you already have the negativity there, and I'm not judging you if you do, because that's normal, well then, in order for you to move forward in a better direction, we got to flush that out first. And now it makes taking a positive approach so much easier. So listen, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was just saying, but the bottom line is, this is where we want to, how we want to be mindful of things so that we can move forward in the right way. So we heal. Oh, and it just came back to me. Prayer and meditation. That's another way to kind of help keep you at a calm place, a centered place, allow you to handle whatever bad energy is coming your way and push it to the side. All right. Helps keep you in check. Keeps your mind right. Is good for you. So consider that. Consider a morning routine that includes prayer and meditation, because that's going to be very healthy for your heart and for your spirit, for your mind, and your overall quality of life. All right. So now the fifth thing that you have to always remember about guarding your heart is that God and your spirit is already your protection. So here's the thing. At the end of the day, you can either walk in faith or you can walk in fear. And when your mentality is that I have to guard my heart, you are essentially walking in fear. Not only are you walking in fear, but you're essentially saying, I do not trust God to make sure I'm good. I don't trust my spirit to be able to discern what's in front of me and kind of lead me or give me insight as to what I need to do in this moment. All right. And again, I don't say that to make you feel bad about it or to judge you. We've all been there. I believe we've all been there. It's just for you to become aware so that you can understand why you need to shift the way that you're viewing this and the way that you're going about this. God can and is protecting you when you put it in his hands. So the way that I want you to start looking at life is look at it like this. If I am dealing with someone, if I'm dating an individual, and there's the fear of, well, how do I know I can trust them, right? Well, my thought process is, since God is my protection, I don't need to focus on, can I trust this person? I need to focus on, does God even want me with this person? If God wants me with this person, then whatever is going to come about is what needs to come about. All right? If God says, no, you're good here, then I will be good here. I don't need to try to analyze everything, because if we leave it up to us and our own understanding, we could always find reasons to not trust or to validate a wall being up or whatever the case may be. And again, as I mentioned in the very beginning, you cannot experience the true potential of a relationship with walls up, because you're not allowing the flow of love to go back and forth with a wall up. You're not allowing full vulnerability with a wall up. And these things are necessary for the health and success of a relationship. So I've got to come in wall down. I've got to come in being willing and prepared to give my heart to who God says I should give my heart to. And he will be my protection. And if I even do get hurt again, let's go back to, I believe it was number 2. Hurt sometimes is based off our perception and misunderstanding of things. Maybe that hurt was to wake me up. Maybe that hurt was redirection into something greater. If I always trust and believe that no matter what happens, God got me, then I can always bounce back from anything. So I don't need to on my own strength, protect myself. And then we go further than that, because not only is it just God, but the extension of God, which is our spirit. And for you as a woman, think about your intuition. If you watch my videos, I'm a huge believer in women's intuition. I believe it is a huge, amazing blessing. And how many times have you ever experienced your intuition being wrong? I've never come across a woman where her intuition was wrong. Now, we can make a whole discussion on how do you know if it's intuition versus your own head or fear, okay? Which I'm going to give you a quick tip. Fear is based off of logic. Intuition needs no logic. Meaning, if you walked into a room and you identified certain things that can be dangerous, that can cause you to be afraid because you have logically deducted where there might be a problem. Whereas intuition, you could walk into the room, everything could seem safe. There could be nothing logically that says there is a problem here, but your spirit's like, get out of there now. You don't need to be there. Something's not right. It does not need anything logical. It is what you feel. It is what you sense. It goes beyond what we see, what we hear, what we try to process. Because God does not need logic. God can see beyond all of it. All right? So when you understand that your spirit possesses so much wisdom, so much understanding, that it can see what you cannot, it can hear what you cannot, then you can rest assured that if you tap into it and get in tune with it, you're gonna be good. And I know this all sounds easier said than done, all right? And forgive me, but I still have to encourage you in doing it. Now, listen, one of the things I would always suggest real quick for those of you who may feel like, well, you don't hear from God very well, or maybe you struggle being in tune with your spirit. Well, fasting, let me just say it. Fasting is a great way to get closer to God, closer to your spirit, gain more clarity, strengthen yourself in that area. All right. So consider doing a fast. Maybe you can start with a day or a few hours. You can do it with various things. Sacrifice something. Maybe it's TV. Maybe it's the internet. I believe fasting food is the ultimate thing. All right. For various reasons. But I think for someone starting off, even when I started off, I did the TV. I did no music. You can do different things to get your feet wet. But I do think you should work your way up to no food for a while. Like I said, it might be hours. It might be a full day. I've gone as long as 7 days, no food, just water. One of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. But the point is, your spirit and God is enough. Put your trust in them and you will be good. Thank you for watching this video. I pray that it was helpful to you. Now, check out this one over here on the 7 clues you found the right man God has for you. There's a lot of women out there that are struggling to believe that a great man exists for them. And you may be one of those women, all right? And dating has seemed to gotten harder.